In this chapter, what we're going to be discussing, there's going to be some work that you have to do. And if you don't do it, you can't go on to week 2. Now, from what I said earlier on about a toxic relationship, yes, there is toxicity and there is abuse. All abusive relationships are toxic, but not all toxic relationships are intentionally abused. A toxic relationship might involve two people who are triggering each other without realizing it. An abusive relationship involves deliberate attempt to harm, control, or dominate the other party. Both are unhealthy and deserve serious attention, but the intention and level of damage may vary. Furthermore, what does healthy relationship looks like? Healthy relationship is open, honest, respectful communication. Now, there is emotional safety. You can be valued without fear. Accountability. Both people can admit when they are wrong. They shouldn't be blaming each other. And boundaries should be honored and supported. Support and encourage instead of judgment. These are the things that should be in a healthy relationship. If the relationship consistently pulls you away from your peace, value, and self-worth, then you know you are in an unhealthy situation. Like I said, toxic relationship doesn't always start that way. Many begins with charm, love, and intense connection, but over time, the emotional erosion becomes impossible to ignore. Recognizing the first step towards freedom, healing, and better relationship in the future. Now, that is why I have actually set up these modules to be in 12 parts. And the first thing we need to do is identify. If you identify that you are in a toxic environment or in a toxic relationship, then you are actually on your way to healing and help. Because if you don't identify it, you can't get help. Now, this is just going to be a 15-minute exercise. This icebreaker activity, I call it. 2 truths and healing. You should each share 2 facts about yourself and themselves and what you hope for, healing and growth. For example, you can say you don't want to stop self-guessing yourself, or you want to trust my instinct again. You want to be able to trust your judgment and your instinct. And the second is, what is your healing intention? I repeat, what is your healing intention? And why you need to write these 2 things is, these 2 things works. It gets you talking. It gets you to reflect on your past, where you've been, because you want to come out of that and get into a new environment or new relationship. So you need to reflect. You need to see if you can remember when all this starts. So it gets you talking and it's a little fun. By you writing it down, it shows that if you move on and you find yourself in another situation, which I don't pray for, then you'll be able to identify it immediately and get yourself out of that situation before it gets too complicated to leave, or you invest time and emotions into it, and then you will not want to leave because you'll be thinking, oh, people are counting it. This is the second relationship. This is your business, nobody else's business. So you need to do what is best for you. That is step one. You need to break the ice. Now, this one, you could do it by yourself, or when we come together in the group, we can do it together. We can brainstorm what we need to feel safe. So you can write it down. What do you think you need? Because each and every individual is different. The abusive relationship or toxic relationship they are in is different. So what you need to feel safe will be different. So I will want you to write yours down. What do you need that will make you feel safe, respected, and they will respect your space? Create a list of agreements if you're working in pairs or if you're doing this with your partner. You create a list of agreement together. Listen without judgment. Confidentiality. No interruption. No giving advice unless asked. Write it either on a paper and paste it where you can see it and read it every time you compass it. So it sticks in there. So that when you start seeing the signs that are not meant to be, you quickly retrace your step back. The third one is setting goals. Where are you now? And where do you want to be? Now, it's not about just writing it down. You need to stick with it because there is no point in you setting a goal and not following it up. So you need to write this down. You can journal it or get a notebook and write it in. What is the reason why you are in this group? How do toxic relationships show up in your life? Maybe you saw the signs, but you didn't know there were signs. They were the red flags. Like in my case, the sign was there. I think 3 months into our wedding, but I never know what the red flags is. The only thing I knew was the abusive physical abuse. But because mine wasn't physical, I didn't identify it. It took me 25 years of my life. Okay, because by the time I identified it, I was already 20 years in it. And then it took me 5 years to map out a strategy on how to come out of it alive, rather than coming out of it in a body bag. What do you want to change? If that is what you want, if you want a change in your relationship or you want to heal, what is it you want? Write it down. What will progress looks like for you, say in 90 days? Write what you think your progress will look like for you. My progress for 90 days will be different to the next person's progress. Like I said, we're each individual. We're different, so our goals and progress will be different. So when we come back together to the group, I will ask each and everyone to share Because if you don't share it, then you wouldn't master it. You need to be open. You need to talk about it for you to heal. For me, when I came out of that relationship, every time I talk about it, I weep. And that's because I haven't healed. But now I've healed, I can talk about it. I can help people who are in similar situation get out of that situation and be in a better position. So you need to talk about it. You need to write everything down and make sure you follow it. Now, the red flags, you need to write down what your red flags are. Have you missed any one of them? You need to have a reflection page and journal it down. And like I said, what will living free from emotional chaos be like for you? So this is the end of week 1, and then we can come together and talk about it.